Hey guys, welcome back to High Angle Hunter. My name's Clay. Today we're working on the apparel component of our gear chain. Within the gear chain, we've got boots, packs, apparel, optics, sleep systems, shelters, personal protection, nutrition, and weapon. Those 9 things are what we use to guide the creation of a really dynamic hunting system that works in any environment. So within apparel, what we're looking at is building a good layering system, something that works from hot to cold, wet to dry. Within it, there are 4 primary categories. You've got a base layer, a mid layer, an insulation layer, and a shell. The reason that we want to break it into these pieces is that they all serve specific purposes. At the beginning, we're going to deal with our base layers. Base layers work really well to get moisture off your skin and either into the atmosphere or into the next layer. I highly recommend going with a synthetic base layer because they only absorb 1 to 3% of their weighted moisture. So that means your skin stays dry and it keeps that moisture moving off and away from you. When we get into our mid layer, this is a piece that works really well as either merino or synthetic, and a lot of that becomes personal preference at this point. It's a piece that bridges the gap between a next to skin layer and an insulation layer. It adds a little bit of warmth, but it also helps to move moisture quite quickly. In the event you sweat your base layer out, you can go into your mid layer and stay really warm and really comfortable without having to make a major change within your system. It's a piece that you wear on top of your base layer on every hunt from September through the end of the year. As the weather starts to get colder, you start to look at insulation layers. You can go with synthetic or with down. There are some really specific proponents to each, which we'll cover in a written piece on the website, and we'll give you directions to that here in just a moment. The trick to this layer is retaining warmth and keeping it inside the system while still allowing moisture to get out. The next piece that comes in is our shell. Now, shells can go one of 3 directions. They can be a hard shell like the piece that's in my hand, they can be a soft shell that's windproof, or they can be a wind resistant soft shell. Between those 3 you get different levels of performance. The hard shell is windproof, waterproof, and allows moisture to pass through it fairly well. The soft shells, especially a windproof soft shell, still has a membrane but it's not fully waterproof, whereas a wind-resistant soft shell has a DWR treating on the outside, which allows it to fend off a little bit of moisture while letting a lot of excess heat and moisture out of the system. Depending on where you're going and how you're working, that should guide that process. If you're in the backcountry and you don't know what weather's going to throw at you, you want a hard shell. If you're doing really high thermal activities with low incidence of precipitation, then that wind-resistant shell can be good. And if you're somewhere in between where you want to fight wind and you might have a little bit of precipitation or that precip is going to be frozen, that's where that soft shell neatly fits into the mix. So if you've got more questions about this, you can post them down below in the comments section. You can reach out to us via the Facebook Messenger on Facebook or on our website. Shoot us an email from HighAngleHunter.com, or you can call me to work on your own specific layering solution at 928-440-5244. More importantly, if you go to the red paper section of the website, you'll see the full in-depth layering component of the gear chain